Welcome to The Explainer. This is where we take those super dense industry reports and break them down into something you can actually use, all in about 5 minutes.
So, this whole analysis comes from us, the research team at Gambling Databases. What we do is dive deep into the global iGaming landscape. We look at everything: local regulations, taxation, what the player experience is like, operator conditions, you name it. Our goal is to give you a really clear, data-driven picture of what makes each market tick. And today, we're tearing down our deep dive on Barbados.
And here's the big question we're trying to answer. Is Barbados this amazing paradise for operators, a golden opportunity, or is it actually a super high-risk gamble? Let's dig in and find out.
All right, so when you first look at Barbados, man, on the surface, it seems like a perfect hand for any operator. The numbers look really good. You'd be pretty optimistic, and honestly, who could blame you?
Okay, first up, you've got a GDP per capita of over $25,000. That's huge. It makes Barbados the wealthiest nation in the entire Eastern Caribbean. And what does that mean? It means people have money to spend, real disposable income. And get this, it's not just wealthy, it's also super connected. We're talking 80% internet penetration. That's a massive, ready-made audience of potential players right at your fingertips. Okay, now this next number, it's kind of mind-blowing. Mobile connection is at a staggering 123%. Yeah, you heard that right. It means lots of people have more than one device. For any mobile-first gaming company, that is literally the dream scenario.
But you know how it is. If it looks too good to be true, well, once you scratch beneath that shiny surface, a totally different, much more complicated picture starts to form. And it all begins with the biggest hurdle of them all, the actual law.
So check out this timeline. It really says it all. The government announced they were going to bring in iGaming legislation way back in March 2023. They even missed their own deadline in June of that year. And now, more than 30 months have gone by, and crickets. The legislation is still completely missing in action.
And this massive, indefinite delay has thrown the whole market into what we call a regulatory gray zone. So what that means is, for players, gambling online isn't explicitly illegal. But for operators trying to get a license and do things by the book, it's impossible. There's just no legal framework. Total limbo. Okay, so with all that uncertainty floating around, you have to ask, what are operators even playing for here? What's the potential prize? Let's talk numbers and size up the market.
Well, turns out, even in this gray zone, people are playing. We estimate that somewhere between 45 and 60,000 Barbadians are already active gamblers. That's about 18% of all adults. They're just doing it on offshore sites right now.
Now, let's look ahead. If, and that's a big if, regulation ever happens, we project some serious growth. The market could kick off at around $15 to $18 million in year one, and then grow to a mature market of $35 to $40 million within 5 years. That's some real potential.
So yeah, that $40 million prize, it's definitely tempting, but the buy-in to even get a seat at this table is incredibly steep. And this is where we get to the true cost of entry.
The costs here are just wow. First, your customer acquisition cost is anywhere from $150 to $300 a player. That's a lot, especially when you're fighting offshore sites for a pretty small group of people. Then you add in license fees, setup costs, and your total initial investment can easily hit $1 million or more right out of the gate.
And it doesn't stop there. Once you're in, you face this gauntlet of challenges. You've got fierce competition from those tax-free offshore sites, you've got payment processing issues, and maybe the scariest part, a break-even timeline that could stretch out to 30 months. That's a long, long time to be in the red.
So, we've weighed the good against the bad, the promise against the peril. What's the final call from us here at Gambling Databases?
So, is Barbados a winning hand, or is it a losing bet?
Well, our report gives Barbados an operator ease score of just 2.3 out of 10. Let me say that again, 2.3. That's an incredibly low score. It's basically a giant red flag signaling just how difficult it is to do business here. And that low score really boils down to a few critical risk warnings. You've got the complete lack of a licensing framework with no end in sight. You've got a micro market size that makes profitability a huge challenge. And frankly, a government that's pretty cautious about gambling in the first place. It's a minefield.
And this quote from our profitability assessment really hits the nail on the head. This market cannot support more than 2 to 3 profitable operators simultaneously. That's the bottom line. It's just too small of a pie.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's that you need a deep, data-driven look at the real risks versus the rewards. Barbados is a classic case of a market that looks amazing on a postcard, but once you're on the ground, the reality is a whole different story.
Look, if you want to get into all the nitty-gritty details, you can find the full report plus analyses of other countries on our website at gamblingdatabases.com. We'll also drop a link to the full study in the pinned comment below. And hey, if you found this useful, do us a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. We've got a lot more of this kind of in-depth content coming your way.